Okay, folks, we are live right now with someone that I have the utmost respect for and have known for a little while. He's a very good person. I like him a lot. Olumide in Nigeria, Olumide is one of those people that does the work on the ground. He does not play around. Um, and he's straightforward. And so I asked Olumide while we were in the green room, I said to him that it was important that we actually talk about things that are really important and not just the same old stuff that we've talked about before. And so, Illumide, I know that we've just had an election here, which was really very hard for us as a country. Okay, I think in some ways, Illumide, we learned. I've been to Africa, and we've learned that what Africa has dealt with in the past, we're now dealing with it in our own country. It almost felt like a third world country. And actually always feeling like Africa and other countries, the continent of Africa and its countries, they're actually richer than we are because they have their culture, they know what it is they want, like yourself, and there's so much that we can learn from you. Okay. We were talking about what's important to you about climate right now, and this is a blueprint that we intend to bring into the UN. What is going on the ground in Nigeria right now that is important to you that gets solved?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's very, very so unfortunate that a lot of things is happening now, and a lot of young people are not happy about it. And I think it is high time that we start looking at those recovery strategy when it comes to environment, health, and education. And the only way we can make this happen is by, know, providing a clean and safer economy that can help us to build back better. A lot of young people now are crying for better jobs, not only better jobs, but crying for green jobs, the sustainable jobs that can give them livelihood. We need to start looking at how we can build our community, improve our public health. So it's a lot of things that has actually been happening across the value chain, even presently in Nigeria. After the MSAS, a lot of things have started happening. But do you know the good news again is this? I think this actually bring a very urgent uh, uh, conversation based on like today, our president just unveiled a new plan for the agriculture sector. Some days ago, they came up with a program for different young people in Nigeria to tap into. Organize, businesses can register for their companies for free for close to 250,000 business or so. And they are doing that, but as much as possible, is it the right time for them to be doing it? Why are they not doing it before? So a lot of conversation has been going on ground that we need to protect the land, the water, even while working to connect communities with nature. We also need to address environmental injustice. We need to fix our environment. We need to fix a lot of issue within the communities because time will come that the community will be fighting each other. We need to look into the low income communities. They are very, very important in this kind of sector we are presently. And with the
You
COVID that is coming and with the environmental issue that is coming, the climate change problem, we need to start looking at community across the states and across the country. So my own is economic justice, environmental justice, climate justice is very, very important.
something, Illumide, it's very interesting that you say this because no matter what country you're in, we're in a concrete jungle here, okay? But we also have a lot of farmland here as well, okay? In middle America, where all the farmland is, our youth, there's a documentary some years ago called A Place at the Table. Our youth in the middle of this country is eating canned food where our farms are, okay? Canned food laced with a lot of salt, okay? So as I was just talking, you remember Sunita that you were on with from India. We were just talking about this. You have canned food with a lot laced with a lot of salt. You are what you eat. These kids have a low IQ in school. They're not doing well in school. Their mentality is not moving forward because here in the States, it is how much money the trucks make to go through your town to deliver produce. Now, what's interesting about this is farm country where produce is grown. That trucks don't go through it because they feel it's not economically advantageous to it. So people starve. When people starve or not eating well, they begin to fight each other, as you've said. Now, what's interesting is we're supposed to be one of the most westernized countries in the world, and I love my country. But at the same time, we're hearing the same thing there where you are in Nigeria. Okay? And it when people hear this, they're like, what are you talking about? No, unfortunately, the special rapporteur went through our country and found this. And yet, this issue still exists. But folks like yourself and myself and, COM26 and all the other groups that I mentioned earlier, we're actually here on the ground doing something about it. Here's my question to you. When people hear environmental justice, they don't truly understand what that means. I want you to share with us what that exactly means, because there are a lot of people think it's an acronym. What does environmental justice and climate justice really mean for you on the ground with your fellow citizens of Nigeria across your cities and towns? What does that mean?
Okay, just in a very simple way for people to understand, like a layman, it's just about involvement of all people, regardless their race, color, nationality, regardless of income. You need an environment that is conducive, and that is what we call environmental justice. Even the climate justice is just that a little bit of technical conversation goes on when it comes to environmental, what do call it, and climate justice. But environmental justice itself is for all of us to have our right, equal rights, regardless of anywhere we come from. So that is just the major key that environmental justice means, and this has been a very big problem, most especially when it comes to religious issue. And I think we don't need to start having problem when it comes to our environment. We don't need to start having problem when it comes to our law. We don't need to start having problem when it comes to regulations and policies. So all these things are things that our community need to understand, that in no matter how, even your income is also part of economic justice, environmental justice. No matter any money, no matter any business you're doing, you have equal right to the environment.
When you say environmental justice, let's go a little deeper. If I'm in a town in Nigeria, okay, and I'm dealing with environmental justice amongst the people, does it look like land, people having the rights to land, people having the rights to owning a farm? What does that look like exactly on the ground, Olumide?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
When we talk about environmental justice, if I am in Nigeria, okay, and I'm in a town, are we speaking environmental justice where all people have rights to ownership of land and to grow their food and to market their food? Is that what you're speaking of?
Yeah, so it depends on the kind of program you are running at a particular time. For instance, if I'm having an activity concerning agriculture, for instance, I'll be talking about land use. I'll be talking about products and produce. I'll be talking about access to funding for farmers. I'll be talking about import and export for farmers. So it depends. So that's where we now start looking at different activities that relate to their rights and what they actually need for themselves. So that's a little bit of how we need to
Okay. Okay.
expatiate on the environmental justice.
When we break it down to farmers' rights, because you see that's important. That's where our food comes from. The farmers are tilling the soil and growing our food for distribution. Can you tell us what are some of the issues you face in Nigeria with farmers' rights?
Some of the words.
Farmers' rights, the rights of farmers. What are some of the issues you face in Nigeria with farmers' rights?
Okay, so one of it is, you know, when we talk about the crops that they need to plant. Secondly, access to loan. They have the right to have access to loan. And you also know that before you can get a loan, you need to have some a little bit of collateral. But one thing here is that they are lack these people don't have a collateral, but they have an association. So how can the government help them to build that institution so that all of them can have access to loan and farm? It's very, very key because it's something that is interesting that most of all the farmers, because of this issue of lack of access to loan or lack of access to financial opportunity, most of them don't even have opportunity to move further or to do more. And it has not come to because from my research and my understanding, these local farmers actually provide more of the food we are eating. And the big farms or the big short people that are doing farming as well, those ones are actually feeding their food are going outside the country. But the ones that are giving us the food we are eating in the country, how are we empowering them? So access to finance, and when it comes to access to finance, that's when we talk about loan. How do you help them to create a collateral for themselves? And that's why we came up with the issue of association of farmers. How can we now make the association of farmers be institutionalized so that when you collect loan, you'll be able to have a body that help you to, that guides you through that funding or that money is being able to you to do your farming. So another thing, equal right as well. When you look at women and men, how many of the women are we seeing in farm? How many of the men are we seeing in farming? How do we make sure we balance those? How do we make sure that it's not only the women that go to go and cultivate or go to the farm because of the mentality that they are meant for farm? No, we need to start looking at equal rights in that aspect as well. So that's what I'm talking about: environmental justice, equal right for everybody in farming sector.
I really like what you said about women, okay? Because a lot of times women do need those equal rights to farming, even here. We have, I mean, Illumide, you would think in this country we have a lot of women farmers. No, it's the opposite. We don't. I have a really important question for you. You know, youth today need to generate income because the income that was yesterday is not the same as it is today, okay? How do you in Nigeria keep youth interested in agriculture and farming when they can be lawyers and doctors and engineers?
Well, I think presently in Nigeria now, because of the issue of what is going on and because of what people see that they need to start now diversifying opportunities, I can tell you that a lot of young people now are now entrepreneurial minded. Start looking at the mindset whereby people don't believe or don't see feeding on 8 to 5 job again. What we start doing now, a little bit of people that I've worked with, is to see how we can start telling people about entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship will help them to actually understand the now and the future because the economy that we are seeing now, COVID-19 have shut down everything. And even farmers are also facing this because nobody is out there to buy the farm produce. But for young people, what we are doing is to tell them that an industry that is going to fill the world. My parents always tell me something that three things in life: food we eat, where we sleep, and the clothes we wear. So if you can take these three things, if you can give these three things to human, then you've solved the person's problem. So food is now a necessity. Food is now an urgent issue. So a lot of young people are now moving. So changing mindsets. Like for me, I'm also looking at investing into agriculture because that's the only way. And I'm so happy because my dad is an agriculture, he's into agriculture. So it's something that we need to start looking at. And young people are actually doing it now. A lot of small scale businesses are coming up and the government have been promising that they want to support small scale companies, small scale, and that is why they came up with come and register your business for free, so that you'll be able to do your business instead of looking for money to register. Register for free, and you can now start your business. Any other thing that happen after that, everybody needs to now start creative on how they want to do their farming because farming is not on social media. Farming is on ground. The food you want to eat will not be on social media. You have to have your legs and your hands dirty before you can have any food on your table. So it's a bit of mindset, change of mindset, And young people now in Nigeria are now looking at investment opportunity in agriculture, which is a very, very big conversation.
You know, I love what you said because my mother used to tell me, I remember her one day, you're going to laugh, Illumide. My brother was using the toilet paper over and over and over again. And she said, "What do you think? My money and your dad's money grow on trees?" She said, "Don't use all that." And we used to think she was crazy. Like, we're not that poor that we have to worry about toilet paper. But my mother believed the same as your parents did. And that is a place to stay, food to eat, and clothes on your back. Those are what people wake up to every day. I don't care how rich, how poor you are. And those are necessities. And this is what I say about social media. You know, a lot of people, Illumide, you've known us for a while. They say, well, how come you're not on social media a lot? Yeah, we're doing these Zooms like I just shared with you. That's because offline, we're too busy to be on social media. We don't have the time. And yes, we could get a staff person to say, oh, yeah, this is what we're doing and this is how we're doing. My colleagues and I have never been about that. Okay. But now it's important that we are on to share with people the information that's affordable to them. The bottom line is you are what you do between yourself and yourself, I like to say, is what moves you forward. What I've always loved about you is you and I believe in God. Now, I'm not saying anyone has to believe in God like we do, or you're Buddhist or Sufi or whatever. But my belief is strong in God. But I'm not a religious fanatic. I just know that God is who I serve and who serves me. And that's it. And I've always loved that when you are doing something, the way in which you share yourself is you share yourself in the real work that you're doing, not the garbage that, oh, see who I am. You've always been on social media sharing where you are. And whenever I have seen you, no matter where in the world we see each other, whether it's here in the US or I've seen you in Europe, you are always on point. Always, you have your fun, but you are always on point doing what you're doing. And that's why I appreciate you. That's why I often will have you back and back and back, because you always have a perspective for us to look through that lens and see something different and have us be appreciative of what we have instead of complaining. And then we can do something about it in working with other people. And that is one of the most important things I think is important. For this blueprint for climate that we're building together with the three peacemakers, with David, Sherry, and Mesfin and the other groups, it is important that we don't just talk the talk and the BS, but we actually look at the actions we're taking. A lot of people say they're about action, but I can point and say, Illumide is here. I remember when you were showing us about Venice, what we call Venice, Italy, what it looks like Venice living in Lagos. That, yeah, that blew my mind because you were taking us through a journey of your country to see it and how people have built that in those areas of Nigeria. Okay, whereas you weren't doing a social media post. You were taking us on the journey where we could be with you and look through the lens of having us feel like we're there. But I felt that that area was richer than I am because they had each other. They knew what was important in their life. And every day, the people of Africa in different communities, different tribes, go out and they sell their things in marketing, okay? And their food. I'm really glad to hear that the young people are interested in agriculture and that they see something in it for themselves. Rather than it being, well, this is the latest trend, because food is not a trend. Food is ongoingly necessary in the body. You are what you eat. So if you eat crap, you will feel like crap and you will approach life insecure and in other ways that doesn't mimic truly who you are. And that's what I just said to Sunita from India. What you eat and the kind of soil that you get out of your food, not pesticide based, has a lot to do with how you show up in life. You are what you eat, and that's a fact. I would like to know before you go, is there any last words you would like to say as you see as a solution that people can learn from Nigeria in regards to climate, food, soil, anything?
Well, thank you very much for your words and contribution. I think what Nigerian young or what we need now and what is going to get us going is for us to collaborate more. We need to come together as one and have a voice that we push our government to do the right thing, either in environment, either in climate change, agriculture, health. We just need to have that strong voice to speak to the right solution. And also, we need to start demanding for transparency and accountability so that our role, as they say to us, that we are the future of tomorrow, we are the future of this. I just believe that the future is now. So for us to take over and to also be part of the implementation strategy for every solution we are looking at, we need to come together as one. And coming together as one will give us the results that will move the world or the country or the so-called entity forward. And that is the only way. And to end this, it's also very important that we need to start looking at investment opportunities around everything we are doing. Nobody will keep living on charity. We need to start changing our mindsets. What is that thing that is available to you? Turn it to opportunities and let the opportunity bring source of income into your hands, into your pockets, so that you'll be able to feed a lot of people, feed yourself, and feed your family. And with that, we'll be able to demand for anything we want to demand for. It's only a lazy young person that the government tows all up and down. But when you are hardworking, you never have time to complain. The only time you will complain it is when you want to change things or you want to make an advocacy for policy strategy. That's it. Thank you very much.
I just want to say a shout out. You know Kelly Fetters. He's online on Twitter. I'll send it over to you. He just said to both of us, um, that you and I are always online and we're always doing the work. Illumide, I'm not going to go on talking because it's not just about work to do. You and I both enjoy what we do. We enjoy people and we enjoy everything that we are. And I'm just going to ask God to keep blessing both of us, uh, keeping our ego out and keeping our movement forward, and that we're serving continually in Him, which serves the world. And I just want you to stay blessed and keep doing the work you're doing. And I know
Thank
you
you.
get tired, and I know you're like, Gail, I'm doing these talks again and all that stuff. And I know, but know that you're appreciated every time you do come. Okay.
Thank you so
And,
much.
and I'm glad that you are our global advisor, one of our global advisors, ambassadors. And we're going to be taking Illumide's work, whatever he's doing, we're going to be sharing it more and more, not just to share it. We want you to get involved. We want you to donate to his work. I'm sorry. We want you to seriously donate. We're going to put his link up so that you can do that. The work this man does, I just have too much respect for it. Every time I see him, he's about it. He's about what he says he is. And that's why he's being celebrated around the world. Love you, Illumide, and talk with you soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening or great morning over there.
You too. And don't work too hard. Have some fun.
Thank you.